Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, and I'm back to bring you not only my first episode review for Season 10 of The Loud House, but also the second installment to the summer camp arc that started at the end of Season 9. Indeed, this is the first time a season premiere serves as a continuation from the events of the final episode from the previous season. It does seem a little strange to have a multi-part story being split up between two seasons instead of presenting the entire arc as either a three-part season finale or premiere. But this isn't the first time I've seen a TV show end a season on what is technically considered a cliffhanger. Littlest Pet Shop did something similar back in 2013. The Season 1 finale, Summertime Blues, and the Season 2 premiere, Missing Blythe, served as a two-part episode, so you had to watch the Season 1 finale to understand what was happening in the Season 2 premiere. That's more or less the same idea with the Loud House summer camp arc starting at the end of Season 9 and then continuing into Season 10. Anyway, with that in mind, let's get right into both the second review of the summer camp arc and the first overall review for Season 10 of The Loud House. Today's summer camp episode is The Great Outdoors. In this episode, Lynn tries to break Lisa out of her shell by showing her that there's nothing to be worried about when it comes to having fun at Camp Mastodon, but her plan takes a turn for the worse when her little sister inadvertently gets caught up in a very dangerous situation. As shown in the previous episode Ticked Off, Lynn was appointed as a summer camp counselor. As stated in this episode, she's assigned to be the counselor for Lisa and her friends after their original counselor Lydia had to step away due to having her wisdom teeth removed. And speaking of Lisa's friends, I'm just going to quickly get one of my favorite positives out of the way. We see that Darcy is also attending Camp Mastodon. Even though her role is very limited and she has very few lines of dialogue, it was great to see her character make another appearance. Anyway, one of the best things I can say about this episode is that it played very well to both Lynn and Lisa's respective characters. Given what the story was about, their contrasting personalities made them the most ideal for sharing the spotlight. First, I'll talk about Lisa. We all know she's the kind of character who cares very little about having fun, preferring to be alone and reading science books instead of playing outside with other kids her age. Also, this isn't the first time Lisa has been depicted as overly cautious about doing something that's usually considered harmless. Remember when she felt the need to disinfect the pool water in Sweet and Sour out of fear of whatever germs might have been floating around in there? With that mentality, it's no wonder she decided to place herself inside a giant plastic bubble before jumping into the lake. I could rattle off more examples from past episodes, but I think you know what I'm getting at here. Basically, she has the tendency to act like a bit of a worrier about things such as bacteria and getting injured, those being some of the main reasons why she wanted to stay inside her bunkhouse. Despite the extremely low probability of something bad happening while she's outside, she's willing to sacrifice the chance of having a good time with her friends and family in exchange for the feeling of safety and security. This mentality is the polar opposite of Lynn. She's more of a known risk taker compared to Lisa, and she's also very confident in what she does. She tells Lisa that all her fears about leaving the bunkhouse are bogus, and she doesn't want her sister to miss out on any of the fun activities she has planned for the day. After popping Lisa's giant bubble while swimming in the lake and showing her how to spike a volleyball after nearly getting hit in the face, Lisa slowly realizes that there isn't anything to be afraid of after all. Soon she embraces the joys of rowing a boat and doesn't mind being covered in mud during a game of tug-of-war. She even paints herself in camouflage while partaking in a water balloon fight. This is just like what happened in the episode Snowboard. Lisa started off hating the idea of playing in the snow, but she eventually loosened up and started enjoying the fun that comes with a snowball fight. Although on the surface it looked as if she was having maybe a little bit too much fun. That's pretty much the same thing she does in The Great Outdoors. Lisa thanks Lynn for helping to curb her anxieties, but her anxieties come back when she gets stuck on a zip line. Unfortunately, Lynn's attempt to grease the line with balloons filled with butter ends up attracting a swarm of cicadas, something Lisa was worried about earlier. As a result, Lisa ends up getting dragged away in the overly cartoony tornado created by the cicadas. This leads to a rescue montage with Lynn having to chase after Lisa. First, Lynn manages to stop the cicadas with water balloons. Next, Lisa falls into the lake, but before she can grab onto the safety preserver, she's immediately dragged through the water by a fish tugging on the string of her life jacket. Then an eagle snatches up the fish that was pulling Lisa. Because the fish still had the string in its mouth, Lisa was subsequently pulled up into the air and was being carried off to the eagle's nest on top of a mountain. Lynn begins searching for her sister, but all she finds is an empty nest when she reaches the top of the mountain. It turns out Lisa was able to make her way back to the campground after politely asking Artemis for a ride back down the mountain. Apparently, she was able to quickly study the eagle's communication patterns, and that's how she was able to talk to it. Looks like Lana has some competition when it comes to communicating with animals. What's interesting about Lynn wanting Lisa to embrace the camp activities is that she technically proved how Lisa's earlier fears were not entirely unfounded. Despite the extremely low probability of the worst-case scenario happening to Lisa, the worst-case scenario did indeed happen. Had she stayed inside the bunkhouse like she wanted to in the beginning, she could have avoided all the bad things that ended up happening to her. Lisa was even screaming about how she should have stayed inside her giant plastic bubble just as the cicadas were coming towards her. By choosing to ignore her sister's prior warnings, again, no matter how small the threat levels were, Lynn blames herself for what happened, and she honestly wasn't wrong in doing so. Surprisingly, Lisa isn't the least bit upset about what happened. She learned that she was more capable of handling the outside world than she thought, and she was still okay despite the wild and crazy adventure she had. She just needed to tap into her inner Lynn, and she had her big sister to thank for that. Lisa concludes that the odds of going through all that insanity a second time are virtually zero, and that's a chance she's more than willing to take. Overall, this was both a fun little episode for the summer camp arc and a great way to officially begin Season 10. Pairing the overly cautious Lisa with the free-spirited Lynn made for a good story, and I liked how both characters were neither right nor wrong in how they chose to approach the pros and cons of going outside. Lisa wasn't wrong about the possibility of something bad happening if she left the bunkhouse, but she ended up having a good time with her fellow campers and made some fascinating discoveries about the cicadas and the eagle, so it was a win-win experience all the way around. Lynn wasn't wrong in wanting to help her sister to loosen up and enjoy the camp activities, but she also learned that just because something bad is unlikely to happen doesn't mean it can't happen. All the scenes with Lisa embracing all the camp activities were very sweet, the rescue montage was very epic, and Lynn had some of her best big sister moments of the entire series. Between wanting to teach Lisa how to be less of a worrier and doing everything she could to save her little sister from the dangerous situation she found herself in, you can't say Lynn doesn't have a heart as big as her muscles. So yeah, a solid second installment to the summer camp arc. Can the next episode be just as good, if not better? The probability is 50-50, but there's only one way to find out, but that'll have to wait until next time. With that said, I give The Great Outdoors an 8.9 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of The Great Outdoors. So I gotta ask, what did you guys think of this episode? Sound off in the comments below, and be sure to click that subscribe button for more Loud House related content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.